My beautiful selfish babes, it is your girl Olanike Osipowale here. As you guys can see, my necklace says selfish babe, and I'm affirming you guys are well. So my question that I want to answer today is, am I going to hell if I get a spiritual reading? And I'm going to jump all right into it. I want to say thank you for my selfish babes joining that are coming in. Hi, hello, hello. If I don't say hi, it's just because I want to get in, because I know people are going to have to replay. But if you guys have questions on what I'm talking about, do ask them below and I'll be able to try to answer them during the live, okay? And it's also going to be a Selfish Babe Selfish Talk podcast. So if you're not subscribed to my podcast, it is the Selfish Babe Selfish Talk podcast. Definitely look it up. Thank you, Belle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Absolutely not. You are not going to go to hell if you get a spiritual reading. Thank you for starting out the conversation because that's what I agree with. So the reason I even want to have this conversation is because I think that when it comes to different types of spiritual practices, especially if somebody's coming from the Christian community or is an avid Christian and they want to continue to keep their Christian faith, when it comes to different things that they're not used to or different things that are not taught in the church, then there is some angst and some fear about it, which is why I'm having this podcast. Am I going to hell if I get a spiritual reading? And so, oh, thank you, Paris. Maybe one day I'll sell it. So basically, to answer the question, no, I don't believe that you are going to go to hell if you get a spiritual reading. Now, I will tell you my personal beliefs. I personally do not believe that there is a hell. That is my personal beliefs. But for you, if you are a person or a selfish babe out there that does the heaven and hell thing, or that Christianity is your thing, and it's like, well, I don't want to go to hell, right? Because you're thinking about where your soul is going to go. So for me, my answer is no, you are not going to go to hell if you get, no, I'm not a Christian, if you get a spiritual reading. And so the reason I'm saying this, I kind of want to break this down for the people that are new to different spiritual practices that may be different than maybe Christianity, or maybe may bring something different than what Christianity has brought. Let's just say that. And so for my selfish babes listening that are, open-minded and like, bitch, I'm gonna get my spiritual reading, ain't no big deal. This may not be the right podcast for you, but it's still good to listen. But for my selfish babes that are still new to their spiritual journey and still new to opening up their minds to different things, such as maybe astrological readings or spiritual readings, then I highly recommend you listen to this. So for me, it's just like, some people will believe that they'll go to hell, or believe that it's a bad thing to get spiritual advice from somebody that's not in the church, right? And so for me, I look at it like this. Like, if I was, like, when I used to go to college, I got a guidance counselor and she'd give me advice on my classes. Or maybe you're somebody that wants some advice on their emotional health. Maybe you're going to go to a therapist. Maybe you want to learn some advice from your body and your nutrition. You're going to go to a nutritionalist. And so for me, when it comes to my spiritual practices, getting a spiritual reading is very helpful. For me, it is basically getting insight on what my spiritual map and spiritual journey looks like now and what it could look like in the future. And so for me, some people may call this psychic readings. I don't really call them psychic readings. I think that these readings are more impactful and in depth versus maybe a psychic reading. So I don't really like to use that term. I just like to use spiritual journey, and so a spiritual reading. So for what does that mean? For me, it's somebody that could have a spiritual gift of being able to read your energy, your energetic framework, and be able to tell you what's going on right now and what could happen in the future, depending on the choices that you make, of course, right? And maybe what baths or things spiritually that you can be doing to uplift yourself or get rid of things. Now, for me, this has been very helpful. And I talked about it in my Selfish Babe Academy. My Selfish as Fuck Academy is just like, I have friends, like, I was getting spiritual readings since I've been a grad student. At Florida Agricultural Mechanical University. That was when I was 23. I'm 29 right now. So I've been getting spiritual readings for a good 6 to 7 years. And they have been like literally the most helpful thing in my life. The most helpful thing in my life. And so for me, like, that's helped guide me. It's helped guide me. What do my ancestors need? What spirit needs this or that? What choices could I be making? What's upcoming for the year that I need to look out for? Right? It's like warnings that are given to me so I know how to navigate those things when and if they do come up. And so for me, somebody that you're going to go to get a spiritual reading, of course, yes, they must be trusted. They must know exactly what they're talking about. And the reason I say this is because, yes, there are a lot of charlatans and scammers out there in the world. You know, some people may DM you and be like, oh, your ancestors told me to tell you this, or blah, blah, blah. You'll get these like people from, and this is not to badmouth anybody, but you may get some DMs from a priest in Nigeria that's like, oh, my ancestors said to tell you this. And it's just like, I didn't reach out to you. I didn't reach out to you. Why are you reaching out to me? And so for me, in order to tell, well, who is a good reader and who is not a good reader, of course, it's trial and error, right? Trial and error. But more than likely, you're going to come to them and you're going to inquire for them. They're not going to be in your DMing you about certain things and telling you certain things. You may have a really insightful connection with somebody in person, and they may be able to tell you things because spirit is giving them that message, right? But it's not sleazy. It's not going to come off as you have to pay me to get this information. It's not going to come off like that. Usually you're going to go to that person in order to inquire about their services, right? And so within the Selfish Babe app, I have a section called spiritual readings, and I have about, I think, 4 to 5 recommended people that I recommend. And in my Selfish as Fuck Academy today, I'll be uploading a spiritual reader that I highly, highly recommend, that I want my Selfish Babes and my Selfish as Fuck Academy to check out. And this person, you know, I love them and I get readings from them. And so I want to recommend my Selfish Babes to this person. And so for me, I'm just having this conversation or shedding a little light for the people that may be hesitant to get a spiritual reading, right? I've had friends in grad school knew that I was getting spiritual readings, and they thought it was bad. They thought that anything not coming directly from the church was a bad thing. Anything not coming directly from the Bible was a bad thing. I mean, there are some Christians who believe that yoga is bad, right? It's not a thing to do. And so again, no judgment, but I just kind of want to open up my Selfish Babes to what spiritual readings have done for me. And I truly, truly believe that my friends who were curious about spiritual readings but maybe didn't get one because they believed it was bad, or but they believed that they were going to hell, I really believe those spiritual readings could have guided them. I really, really believe that those spiritual readings could have guided them and could have helped them make better choices, or could have helped them not do certain things, right? Because sometimes we have these habits within us that are bad, or not bad, but that don't really serve us. And so it's like, if you get a reading about that and you know this about yourself as well, you're more than likely going to discontinue that habit that is of disservice to you, because now not only do you know this on the inside, but now it has been spiritually confirmed to you, like, bitch, wake the fuck up and do something different. And so for me, for my Selfish Babes, again, this is for my Selfish Babes that are a little bit more hesitant, I highly recommend getting spiritual readings. I highly recommend getting spiritual readings from people that you can trust and that are open-minded. You know, like, the readers that I go to, or at least some of the readings that I go to, like, they don't really care too much about your religion. It's more so about you and your journey and what you need, and maybe what your ancestors want, or maybe what certain spirits want from you. And for me, when it comes to my ancestors or just spiritual work in general, that work that you do in the spirit is going to come back to you tenfold in this physical reality, right? And so I'm just saying this because I know that there's so many Selfish Babes out there, women out there who may be lost, confused, and don't know where to go right now. And for me, it starts with a spiritual reading. A spiritual reading is just so helpful. It has helped me where I am today. It's helped me in my fucking business. It's helped me make business decisions. It's helped me come up with what I can do with my certain brands, you know, in my love life. It's helped me with so much shit. Like, I highly recommend spiritual readings. And I say this because I don't really see a lot of people talking about this. There are people out there that are, you know, celebrities, millionaires, billionaires, the wealthy, the elite, etc., etc. They get their motherfucking spiritual readings, but they ain't finna fucking tell you. Okay, they're not gonna tell you that they getting a reading, and they're not gonna tell you who they get it from. Okay, because they want to keep it to themselves, and that's everybody's prerogative. I'm not telling people that everybody got to share. What I'm saying is that I just want to make it a normal thing. Like, I'm gonna go get my spiritual reading today. And you don't necessarily have to tell people that, right? You don't have to tell the world that you're getting one. But I'm saying the fact that you're getting one becomes normalized. It's normal to get spiritual advice. It's normal to get advice on what your ancestors may need. It's normal to be like, okay, I'm at a crossroads. I'm really not sure. Boom. Now, this is where it becomes maybe, I don't want to say a bad, but maybe a hindrance, right? Is if you always have to rely on a spiritual reading and not your own personal head or ori or your guidance, because you have inner guidance too, right? You have spiritual gifts too. And so for me, it's like, it becomes a hindrance when you can't make no decision without getting a spiritual reading. I think that people should be able to use their intuition and their inner guidance, but I think as a whole, like maybe 3 to 4 times a year, like every 3 months, every 4 months, you can get a spiritual reading. And if you're a selfish babe out there that's been on the fence, I highly recommend getting a spiritual reading. And I remember going to a conference years ago, and I was talking about this. I was making a presentation on this. But there are some really gifted people out here in the world. Oh, say hi to Superstar. There are some really Superstar is my puppy for those that are listening that cannot watch, but it's a Superstar. But there are some really gifted people out here that have so many beautiful spiritual gifts. I mean, for someone to be able to sit down with you and to kind of get the gist of what's going on with you, to understand understand and share what may be good for you moving forward, to be able to hear spirits speak to them, or to be able to channel spirits and give that, give that advice to you from them. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think sometimes in the Christian church, those gifts are shunned and people shouldn't be using them, or they feel like this is an evil thing. Or some people see spirits, some people hear spirits, some people feel spirits. And so for me, what I'm saying, like I already told you, I'm not a Christian, but what I'm saying to my selfish babes out there is like, all of this is a part of you. These are your gifts. These are your talents. They are not something that you should be afraid of or shunned for, right? These are gifts and talents that can help other people in the world. And so when it comes to my spiritual readers, I'm so fucking grateful for them. I'm so fucking grateful for them because they have given me so much guidance in my business and as me as a whole. And what is good for me spiritually, in my business, in my love life, in my health life, right? And so I'm so grateful for them. And so I just want my selfish babes that are listening, hey, it's okay to get a spiritual reading. I don't believe you're going to go to hell. I don't really believe in hell, so I don't know if you want to take my advice on that. But I just want y'all to know that this is your life and this is your reality. Anything that feels like you have to be caged in or trapped in or feel bad for doing, that's not really what I teach in Selfish Babes, right? I'm teaching y'all how to selfishly and authentically love yourselves and to accept yourself as you are. And so as I'm living this life that I'm living now, I want to live a life of freedom, a life that are not bounded by shackles, and that's shackles within the mind as well. And so I wouldn't want to necessarily be living thinking, if I do this, I'm going to go to hell. If I do this, I'm going to go to hell. If I do this, I'm going to get punished. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's not the type of life that I am talking to you guys about, or like sharing to you guys about. Like, I want you guys to live a life that's more free. It's really a more free life. It's a more liberating life. And you really have to be more open-minded to it. And so I'm just sharing this to help break any shackles that are on your mind or in your energetic body about the choices that you decide to do. Do the things that you want to do because of you and how you feel about them. But sometimes we have these shackles in our mind that really stop us from being great and really stop us from really living a wonderful, wonderful experience that is this life. And I know that there are many people out there going through some things that are confusing. Times may be hard for them right now. And so through Selfish Babe, I'm just saying that life can be beautiful. Life can be beautiful, and we can change your life to make it one that is beautiful. And so for me, apart from self-awareness and a part of loving yourself, at least for me, when it comes to spiritual self-love and a spiritual self-love practice that I think is beautiful, is getting your damn spiritual readings. I think that's needed. You need to do that. You need to do that. For me, that has changed my life automatically. That got me into my ancestor veneration. That got me into honoring the Orisha because that's what worked for me. That's what resonated with me. And so, hey, it's just my advice. That's my answer. I'm going to kind of go through the comments. Somebody just said, God is my King 78. How do you find a spiritual healer? So for me, I have recommended spiritual readers in my Selfish Babe app, that I recommend that you guys can reach out to and schedule with. So that's a reading. It's not necessarily energetic healing, but somebody may be able to do that. So let me see. Thank you, Bella. I appreciate your comments. Let me see. Yes, there are bad and good spirits. And I say this, there are spirits that don't serve you and spirits that do serve you. How about that? I kind of like talking about that versus good and bad. I agree with the Crystal Bruja about the church instilling fear, but honestly, I just want us to be open minded. That's all. Like, and the reason I say this is because, like, y'all could do whatever y'all want with y'all spirituality and y'all religion. If I have selfish babes that want to be Christian because they truly want to be a Christian, then be a Christian. Live your life. Like, what I'm preaching and saying really is for my selfish babes to live their life. Live your most happiest life. I don't care what you freaking practice. Whatever makes you fucking happy, okay? I'm just saying that a spiritual reading is very helpful, okay? Let me see. Oh, thank you. All right, I think that's everything. I know some of y'all were trying to send requests. I'm not trying to do a double live video at this time. But if you have any questions, then comment them below. But Parisian Cortez, how do you draw the line between readings and playing with God? I don't think this is playing with God. That's my personal opinion. And so for me, for that person, Parisian Cortez, that's your prerogative. I'm telling you that what works for me. I told you guys that I'm not a Christian. For me, like, you have to draw the line. That's your choice to make. If you want to get a spiritual reading, get a spiritual reading. And based on what that reading says, you figure out what your line is. Because I can't give advice on what that line is. That's really up to you. And what your thoughts are. Thank you. My dog's 5 months. No, I'm not going to do that. Let me see. How do you draw line? All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to put this up as an IGTV. I'm also going to put this in the podcast as well. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for joining. Somebody asked me, do I believe in God? And so for what I believe in the creator, creatrix. I believe in the energy of masculine and feminine energy. I believe in the universe. I believe in the creator. And so, that's a whole nother fucking topic. My topic that I'm going to have next is God a woman or a man? Okay, and my personal opinion on that. I believe in a higher power. That's what I know. I believe in a higher power, but I also know the God and Goddess exist in me and that I can co-create my reality. Those are my personal beliefs for those that are asking. But I have words to say on that. I really do, because that is something that I feel like I need to talk about. But that's going to be another live, okay? But anyways, I love you guys so much. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll be posting this up soon. And for those on YouTube watching, I love you as well. Bye.